Alright, I was gonna make this video something hugely offensive just for my own jollies, but beautiful little birdie inspired me this morning, and I'm gonna try and make it much more educational. Haven't got much response on the history of film post that I've been making, so I'm gonna make a post just reiterating the fact that we have to question our official documented history. We're definitely trusting the least trustworthy people on the face of the planet, our current sitting politicians and government, to have our best interests at mind and not obfuscate every fucking detail that would render power to the masses. So, firstly, I'd like to point out, in the 1930s, it was forbidden to transport rolls of film by train car. Why? Because the public danger that was being probably built up out of nothing, that these sealed canisters, these tins, individually held, were somehow going to cause the derailing of a fucking train. It's like they can cause fires when there's libraries, thousands and thousands of these things stacked together on one shelf. But even then, it's not like they spontaneously combust. Nitrocellulose is what the films were made out of. It's a good buzzword, right? Cellulose, the stuff in like cotton mills and paper mills that the dust fucking explodes and becomes an unfightable fire instantly. Yeah. In the 30s, that scared people. Same with the word nitro, nitroglycerin. That's like what makes TNT, which is one of the few explosives that was heavily prevalent back in the early 20th century society. Both of these terms squished together, combine that with every fire chief and safety officer at every train station saying, oh yeah, that's fucking highly explosive, we can't have you. That's like taking a jerry can of diesel, or taking a water bottle full of diesel in your backpack on the BC ferries. They're gonna make you sail on Wednesday because it's a hazardous good. It's not a pressurized cylinder. There's very little, realistically, being somebody very well adept at first, you can't see it, but on my phone there's a firefighter sticker. I'm a trained firefighter and wildland firefighter. I know about tinder dry conditions. A single roll of film, properly transported, it's not a really big fire hazard. It's not gonna fucking derail a train. But the people were, using fear tactics and completely oppressive, having an officer stationed at every rail car station, enforcing this shit. People were tricked, just like COVID, into doing shit not in their best interest. And so people weren't allowed to transmit films. They could record films, but they couldn't actually take them from place to place, right? They had to be documented and accounted for because they were dangerous material. Now, it occurs to me, being of Chinese, Vietnamese, Ukrainian descent, communist societies, pretty controlling of things like media and information, especially when it's crossing borders. So when you think about North America's history of controlling every single town and border crossing, when it comes to, which newspapers are allowed to be distributed, because they're not taking actual newspapers, they're taking nitrocellulose microfiche. Guess what? Also prohibited from traveling unless the government gives you the right of way. We're trusting the government going back 100 fucking years. I have the internet, my generation, and the track record is shite. If you're still trusting these bitches, you're the problem. So, nitrocellulose film, why did it all disappear in a historically unaccounted for series of fires that has almost really no explanation? Seems fake and gay. I just think that we should question it. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe human ineptitude did cause thousands and thousands of ISIS theaters to these are things that have existed since 1893 is the first one in, I think it was like Lafayette, no, not Lafayette, somewhere in New Orleans. But the French have been doing films since the mid 17th century. You think the Greeks and they have camera obscuras and ways of recording, light on images and pieces of glass and various things. Like we've had plates, we've had, screenings of things, especially in like esoteric secret clubs, like at the back of the library where only the professor knows how to handle this equipment because it's all very expensive and only for the rich. Yeah, these are technologies that are all very, well established by the mid 17th century, only to the elite. And then it seems like 300 years later, still most of you motherfuckers haven't figured out how they work. It's not a secret anymore. You just Google it. Don't be afraid of learning the answer.